We're going to start out having each candidate give a 3-minute introduction, as well as share their overall vision for the Navajo Nation economy. And then following that, we'll have another question that each candidate will answer, and they will have 2 minutes to answer the question. Okay, we're going to start with the introductions, and you'll also include your vision of the Navajo Nation economy. And we asked, when the candidates came, we just had them randomly choose where they would like to sit. We're actually going to start right here to my left with Dineh, have him start with his introduction, and then we're going to go from my left to further left. So we'll go ahead and they'll let me know when the timer is ready. So again, introduce yourself and share your overall vision for the Navajo Nation economy. And we need to start with 3 minutes, Heather. Okay, ready?
So yate shikedo shine shas tuisazani. Just can't no lini. Das ago sanos angi yate. Bakens and bakelen aden no kaigi no yagi. She the nebenali in shke. Touching in little toy line, but she's chin. For the chin, that's a chedo, not collision, that's a good order in sling. Horse is not gentle, this goes sleep the benza. You get the egg, in Nasa Lash, you can't clean. She never the dasses got diash. Did they come? She nan ish lash, you can't clean. Home a day, ya, home carpet or gay. Chin of this gene. Out of Kujanana, Eastern Navajo, Wingate High School, East other Crown Point. Out of a teen, she can't no cleaning. A teen, oh, you in the States, she can't there. Even now, did just bars and Bohush, bean scratch, she can't no cleaning. If you did Lana than it, if you want economic development, she can't no cleaning. You don't go a teen. I know I'm the only one here that can build things. It's proven. Those are can't either. She can't get. I saw I don't come. She can't clean. She never clean. She not ideal. Take it in his in. I have a vision to build a private hospital, so we can be able to bring more doctors, more nurses, more technicians to help our people. Help with cancer, help with heart disease, to help beat cancer, pancreatic cancer, that my mom died from. Out of the corn agriculture, dog eggy, grazing the fish, grazing land, and we have so much resources that we can do and produce jobs and build our economy and produce not just food and medicine for our own people, but for the world. I see it. Out of the Nanakon, Hawan, then it's in Negi, Janae, we can build a housing manufacturer and produce 2,000 homes every 6 months. I can say this because I was a project manager, I've been a trained engineer. We can do this, but it's going to take a strong leader. It's going to take a leader. For over 30 years, we've been voting for good people. We need to vote for a leader. Even at the Nebanali. I want to be your leader. She can't no clean. Kon ji she's not not up at Siligi, not ayat not Mr. Benebis Bajopani, not Nishki, kon the Dasses got this Gide, a head or let the Nebanali for president of the Navajo Nation. Vote wisely, it's your future. She can't no clean. Thank you.
We'll go on to Mr. Daesh.
I bayadel tigi na nishan chat aron that never nan has anike. I don't know this isla. Nothing or just baho no song. The plan, the platform that we have is that we need to bring 3 basic industries to the Navajo Nation. 3 basic industries to the Navajo Nation. And those 3 are agriculture. We have that with NAPI. Then we also need to bring manufacturing. And I've worked at Navajo Housing Authority as the CEO for the organization. We have federal funding streams that come down that we can execute building homes. The third thing that we must have is we must have land. And with those 3 basic industries, every one job that is created there, three service sector jobs will be created in terms of communities being developed, then the services that they need, gas stations, places that they want to entertain themselves. So those are the plans that we have in place and that we want to continue to move forward with. Working for Indian Health Service, I was a contracting officer for the United States government. What I am talking about, I've done. I've done it with the National Aeronautics and Space Administration as a contracting officer. I've worked and negotiated with huge organizations. Then I'm going to bring that experience here again to the Navajo Nation. So that is one aspect of the job. Now, procurement regulations that are here in place today, they need to be adjusted, reviewed, adjusted. Then we need to make it a little bit easier for our entrepreneurs to execute this plan that I am referring to. Along with that same thought, we need to have infrastructure. We need to have water. We need to have buildings so that they can move into these buildings, so that they can open up businesses and stimulate the Navajo economy. Now, those funds that we receive will go to the tax structure, and that tax structure will allow us to reinvest in our Navajo Nation. So those are some of the items and challenges and opportunities that we wanted to present to you this evening, and we would like to move
Mr.
forward.
Diaz.
And I sit in
We will go
position
ahead
14.
and to Mr. Bigman.
Thank you. Yate, Shikato, Shidina, Shas Tweeto, Shisani. She Greg Bigmanian, She, Bitani, Nishlanto, Toragini, Bushes Chin, there's a Fanada Shache, Dota Bahana, Jajada Shanala. About 19 years ago, I got started in the insurance and financial services industry as a broker. And being a small business owner, this was my first insight into being taking a stab at being an entrepreneur on Navajo. I thought it was going to be an easy job to come over here and say, I'm a Navajo business owner, do business with me. But that wasn't the circumstance. So when I saw other companies getting the contract, they were non-Navajo companies. And people asked me, they said, go complain, go put in a complaint. But I decided just to push it aside. And what they talked about at the time was wrongdoing that happens on our nation. And we see that. So fast forward, 19 years later, these are still the same problems that you see in Navajo. And when you look job description for Navajo, it talks about president having the authority to make sure that all divisions, departments, enterprises are operating at their full maximum capacity and there's compliance that is happening. So we see when we talk about economic development, over the past several years, you see the same trend. All these projects that people bring to Navajo, they do 3 things. They either hurt our land, hurt our people, or we have to waive our laws to accommodate outsiders. With me as your Netani, that's going to end. And I'll stand for the sovereignty and the rights of the people. But secondly, in order to move this economy and really make it work, seeing 2 problems that happen on our nation. One of them is that all the resources are tied up in Window Rock. They say, "Oh, we don't have money," but that's not. Also, all the authority is given within the chapters in Title 26. Ability to have business site leases, home site leases. This means that they can be a Walmart in your local community. But what they need help with is they need support with how they're going to cultivate their chapter. And these are business planners, also project managers and grant writings to start, and also finance people to help the financial system. So to move small businesses forward, we really have to focus on several things. This is law enforcement, access to capital, roads, infrastructure such as broadband, and really moving the nation forward. Over at the Net College, we're doing some things in terms of creating an incubator to help bring in ideas. But also, this is a place where we have the best investment, and that's our Navajo people. Believing in our Navajo people and moving the nation forward with the people that are here on Navajo. So thank you, everybody. Vote Big Man number 13 on the ballot.
Oh, yeah, it's Mr. Bigman. And let's move on to Dr. Rosanna Jumbo Fitch.
Yeah, Dr. Rosanna Jumbo Fitch, Yo the net torch eating in Shle, my dish kizny bushes chin, tabaha dashe do desh chini dashanella, chinly de nasha equa geshalando shakea halo, adosha ultaagi, yadi construction management, project management, business, do higher education equa eshananish. Ado nasko yad adeya tatnas nahagi chinly chapter elijah nishle. Ado di the economic vision will yehegi benachigi banishke di nihig do nihidene kwege. We are our greatest asset. We have a culture, a language kwege which empowers us as the net people. Benachigi nihibitzil ado kwege nihe dene bekeya bekaja kwege. We have a lot of beauties within our Navajo Nation government. Each of our 110 chapters, we have a lot of valuable resources, a lot of valuable land, a lot of valuable cultures that each and every one of our clanship brings to our nation and to our communities. We are able to create jobs. Nihe masana do nihe che hiuba talent benache the nebe the nebe jewelry the ne they produce those for our people to help present us with these valuable items that we use, that we need to continue to represent ourselves with as the net people. Ado kwege di employment benache economy will yehegi kwege. We want to build upon that. These last few days, we've learned about a lot of our economy. A lot of our small businesses here on Navajo Nation have a struggle. We have a struggle here within our local governance that we need to address within our policies and procedures. We have a lot of our Dineh that live below poverty. We need to address those concerns. As we have our younger generations coming forward within our communities, we need to be able to provide them those opportunities to help them thrive. We also have a lot of issues with how much funding our nation has, how much funding our nation loses to border town communities. We also have the lack of support from our Navajo Nation government to help our communities, support our people. We have to be able to be accountable, to be successful within each of our communities, and together will help to keep our nation strong.
Yeah. Okay, we'll go ahead and move on to Ms. Davis.
Sorry, thank you. I am President Frankie Davis, your hello, again, sorry. I am Frankie Davis. I am President Frankie Davis, your future president. Everyone will have a house built with running water and electricity within 3 years of my election and a good paying job by using our natural resources we have in abundance. We'll gain complete independence from the United States. Only I know how to do this, and I'm not going to tell any of you, and because if I tell somebody, they will screw it up. How will the houses be built? We will train the youth to do this and pay them a good salary. Go to YouTube and type in economic freedom for the Navajo Nation. All of this will be done truly through independence. We will have enough to provide every Navajo adult who lives on the Navajo Nation basically $12,000 stipend for the year. This must be spent on the reservation. As well as tonight, you're going to hear our Navajo Nation candidates who don't realize we have zero capital. Our GDP sucks, and yet we are making promises. These people are making promises. My plan, because Congress, the United States, is $30 trillion plus in debt. How can you bleed Congress for money? We cannot. And thus, being independent is the only rational thing you can do. We have untapped resources, and we have potentially $50 billion hubs that we can make, and we have $1 trillion plus untapped natural resources. This is my platform. This is my plan. This is Frankie Davis. I will be your president, I pray, and we will have true prosperity, and I hope you vote for number 9.
Thank you, Frankie. And then we move on to Ms. Dr. Dolly Manson.
Yat shik oshitne. Yat the dohne. Oh, I had la quanhano yagi ado kodona hosol anigida so hehan hideshnidole. And my name is Dr. Dolly Manson. Thank you for all coming here, and thank you for the people that are putting on this forum here for us. Ado she yachishitne enshle tedeshkijni pashishin. Tlezelan da she dotra nesani da shenale akut ego sanshle. Nle tlejim bagate nasha nle tlensado shata achugota khaniye ade yisi nasha akota ya niche de hotesin ltsa ako di ya khait au inasko khait au inaste dide economic development isne khait au ya naste ya khat ishi bekete lahaki ko bednils ido behni naniki Khait out enas the dole, Joshin hat no and usually economic development is about supplies and demand. Hati en here, hello do hati needs in ya. First of all, in order for economic development to work, in order to have brighter future and with economic, we need to do some other stuff first. We cannot just say, look, I'm going to develop this and that and this and that. It seems as if prior to all this, and that's what has been going on, people have been saying, this is what we're going to do. It hasn't happened. So, first of all, we know we have land issues. Every time we want to do something, we have the permit holders there saying, no, that's my land. So therefore, I would work with the permit holders. If I were to be the president, I'll have my administration. We would make sure we work with the permit holders. People have permits. Some people don't have permit but have livestock. And some communities already have areas where they could do business, build business. Businesses bring businesses. But the problem next is to the other problem if people cannot have businesses or cannot begin to bring businesses because of rules, regulations, and laws that prohibit them. So we would streamline those. We need to go back into our tribal code and other rules and regulations as to why some of these things have been prohibiting to do business. We would streamline those and then also figure out a way, then finally figure out a way to help the people bringing in businesses with money as a startup. Maybe
Yeah,
some
Dr.
kind of
Mason,
credit.
we're going to go ahead and move on. We're moving on to Emily Ellison.
Yate. Okay, good. Did you guys all make your donation to the Navajo government? Did you go to the casino and put in $1? Good, that's our sovereignty. So, nakirinan shlen to altsoi bashichin kia ane dashiche do betaninde dashanale. So I'm from Manuelito and Edgelta, Jones Ranch area. 2018, all right. I was a candidate, and my platform is exactly the same. We covered all aspects, law enforcement, government, business. So now this campaign is just expressing my ideas. We live here among the Navajo and in our homes where our parents are because we want a good life for ourselves and for our kids, and that's why we're here. That's why we go through these hardships. So how do we improve that? From my perspective, and I've traveled a little bit, I've lived in foreign countries, and I've seen their systems, and it's about opening up our economy. But to do that, we need to have our rights. That's political rights, that's legal rights, that's economic rights. Economic rights includes the ability to work and work with whatever commodities that are coming our way. So that's the big portion of what I want to focus on tonight. Thank you all for coming here and hearing out all our visions and support. Each one of us candidates only want good things for our nation. Thank you.
Thank you, Emily. And now we move on to Leslie Sosi.
Yate, good evening. My platform here is Dineh Choice, Dineh Generations. Ashihina shle tohaglini bashachin, setna bitli dashache, holgani nashanali, zeai nasha. I moved back to the Navajo Nation. I am one of those who got their education and came home. I've been here since 2013 back home, and I struggled. I know what the struggle is to have to live, and I finally got a home with my great-grandmother's house is where I live. I'm fortunate to have water. I have a septic tank. The only thing I'm lacking is a little studio now, the way it looks. I've been asking for a roof, for ways to live in a comfortable place, but I'm surviving. We all survive. I think with economic development, going through all that with my experiences, my main thing is customer service. Customer service is what is needed to our people. I'm so upset when I go places and I see how our own people are treated. It's hard to watch somebody, and especially our veterans, our elders, being treated like they don't know what they're doing or understanding what needs to be done in order the way they need something done right away. I know broadband's a big thing right now, but we've all figured that out on how to communicate. I see land breaking with entrepreneurs, companies, businesses, and they do the groundbreaking, show that on Navajo Times, and it's like, where is that business? Where am I going to get a job? Where are my generations going to get a job, or the younger generation? I'm looking for the future. I have a granddaughter, and I don't want any of our younger children to have to go through this, because there's no need for it. All of us up here can stop this and just continue to live on prosperous and still have our Dineh way of life, our future, our education, and that education is our resources inside our Navajo Nation. We also need to manage our money. we probably have a bank here. I don't even know that. What is our money here that we don't even know as our own people? Where does it go? How do we get it? Who do we have to beg for it? To this day, I still talk to students, young children who are still in college, and they're saying, we haven't received our ARPA. I'm saddened to know that this is part of their life way out there, because I too, when I worked at Navajo Nation Washington office, I also went to George Washington. I was lucky my family sent me spam. I was so happy to pick that up. But I thank you for listening to me, and vote Leslie Sosi.
Yeah, also, I'm just going to ask that you use your own microphone. We do have some COVID protocols. So can you check this one here? This is your microphone. Okay, we're going to go ahead and move on to Mr. Justin Jones.
Yat A, Shik Ado, Shidana, Ya Justin Jones, Ginishia, but Nidon the Enschle, Tratnes Saneba Shin, Kintlchi, Neda Shido, Shin, Eda Shinale, Sensades, Ahol Gehede, Ade Inasha, Adon the Asha, Chinate Ashchi Danle. What is my vision for the Navajo Nation economy? It's very simple. My vision is that I'm going to invest, empower, and protect because I trust the Navajo people. That's my vision. The way I'm going to do it is I'm going to invest and empower in small businesses. I'm going to invest and empower in Navajo labor. I'm going to invest and empower Navajo-owned companies. Small businesses are the backbone of any economy in this world. It's the backbone of it. They're the job makers. They're the ones that sustain the gross domestic products. It's because of the small business that we even have an economy in the United States. We have to give them capital. Small businesses need short-term and long-term capital. Small businesses cannot continue to pay dual taxation. Small businesses cannot continue to pay outrageous, ridiculous fees to the Navajo Nation. We have to remove the costly regulations that are there. Permitting, zoning, leasing. Did you know that we have 28 steps in the Navajo Nation Business Site Leasing Act? 28 steps. A civil right on the Navajo Nation is that every Navajo person has the civil right to economically sustain him or herself. It's written in the Navajo Bill of Rights. So the government cannot prevent it. I took that case to the Navajo Nation Supreme Court in Inaba versus Business Regulatory. That was my case, and I prevailed. And the Supreme Court opined that ruling. And this is very important. We have to begin to get away from a fossil fuel economy. We have to get away from that. No longer, it's not the 50s anymore. It's not the 60s or the 70s. We have to start getting away from a fossil fuel economy. We have to begin to start investing in services and goods that we begin to do that. That is an economy that we need to do. And lastly, we need to do something about the Navajo Nation enterprises. They are a cash cow to the Navajo Nation economy. My gosh. The Navajo Nation gaming here is losing money every day. So those are the things that we need to get away from. And that is my vision for the Navajo Nation.
Oh. Thank you, Mr. Jones. And we move on to Mr. Boone Nygren.
Oh, yarat shin shabu nigrin, Hachi ensle. Aronats Ozabashin South Vietnamese people. Arot Hodichin, Edashe, Aro South Vietnamese people, Edashanale. le red mesa de nasha are HSK do but inash inigi hashlishni te do shihias chindo but anieda but nalado a shihida no da tachini but she e hoto stanen le aro hore are kehunite el sebe hadestigi Horoshibansis case ea Wabenier Hiltegi Nanish Harenol Chala Kodinaha Erebayat Halet Ola the ne apin Kenada del Zillo Nenegi Shibansis case inlet the never Washington see Yega Bohodniho Elia the Quigo Shibe has Ani Behas Slow the Nehoje Chitesh Chitosha Naidon Netona Nishi Yoshwol Dan Zenegiro Babahone Zana Sibichan das Tanegi Nacha Hodol Nil Joe Dobenia the never Washington Eliara Hodie the Neya Hodan Zenegi Hodie Abiyan Sida Kesigi Bindad Nish Bindinan Nish Haide North Cataro and Alt Kaben de later late Hoto in Jonajot O the Hoto the Nebada in Nish O the Hoto the never Washington de To the never Washington hot o that dos lead hot on that dosnish hot on the Austrado do nida edo hot eda Horishe benina Haila benina Hodeho shit the never and ada shot sago edo hot edo late the nebazin sleedo late Jordan Jono the Nayan Sida case don't Jono I taben hat at the hodno shit the never and ada shot lang cases zido late Halet all and Hade short Haila nahote haila peso baten peson haulo ebigato le jolle haida asdo lilo e peso bahilne sa denen da asjagi peso bada teni
Censored.
Jono shail gotne nasha abiga Haila nehan hunzo se jo she hoto bansis kestel e she hoto shabansi da kestel asi yego are de nebazin shle de ne are bedanos anegi nchen khaide sinton khayast ketel khode bansi da kesigi nkhes zidol e she hunzo hot e dole to a hehen relation she a shlaone da satta e she bedas ni dole Dr. Boo Nigern da no she ken da zidol a hehe hagone
Yeah, Dr. Nygren. We will go ahead and move on to Ms. Ethel Branch.
Yat a shike dot ne she Ethel Branch yin she bean putwat shle nakai bushes chi sitna Jenny dasha che do nakai dashanala. Welcome to my home. Kintana Kehashte East Diablo Cha. My family's sheep camp is about a 10-mile that way. Welcome, welcome. Beautiful to have you here in my home. Beautiful to have you in this incredible facility. My mom is here, Shema A. Ellen Billy Branch Woye. Ado, my uncle, is here. I don't see him. Bahi Billy, Dr. Bahi Billy, the first Navajo PhD graduate of the University of Arizona, born and raised at a little sheep camp just that way. So thank you, his beautiful wife, my Aunt Florence, is here as well. It's just an honor to be here with all of you and to be in this race with such fine individuals here with such brilliant ideas. You guys are going to have a tough job. So a little bit about myself. I graduated from, I'm a 3-time graduate of Harvard University. I have my bachelor's of history with honors. I graduated from Winslow High School, rural public school, graduated from Harvard with honors. I was not going to give up. I'm a cowgirl. I grew up raising sheep and cattle out on our sheep ranch, so I am tough. Nothing is going to faze me. I'm your former attorney general. I went up against Wells Fargo, and I $25 million home to you to compensate for the damage that they did in our community. I litigated Gold King Mine. I went up against President Obama's US EPA. We just brought in $31 million this week. That's on top of another $10 million we brought in last year. And we still have defendants in that case, so there's more millions that are going to come in. If we know how to wield our authority as sovereign, we can bring millions of dollars to our community. That's not all. I'm also the Navajo Nation's former bond counsel. When I graduated from Harvard Law School, I went to the oldest law firm in this country practicing public finance, Orrick, Harrington, and Sutcliffe, the #1 public finance firm in the country. And I helped finance those beautiful new judicial facilities in Tuba City, Chinle, Crown Point, Kienta. That was my work, working with Dolores Gray Eyes, making that happen. We can do more of that. I have so much more I want to share with you, but we need to invest in our people. That's our #1 resource.
Okay, we are going to move on to the next question here, and we'll go ahead and I'm looking for the sound guy, so he might come up and do some switch arounds here. So this next question is going to be 2 minutes. Each candidate will get the same question, and they'll have 2 minutes to answer. So moving on to the next question. I'm going to say the question in English, and Germaine's going to repeat it in Navajo. So the Navajo Nation has been dependent on the extraction of fossil fuels for revenue and employment. Are you in favor of continuing to support the development of resource extraction? And what ideas do you have to diversify the economy?
Kohodi kwa dene bekeya has on Allah denes natin do wahotats nachi edi lejen hahagedo nihit chita ingo akahtatat e tholakondatatat egi e hatahigedo e benache e ya di dene bo Washington e yel walo adwanzal na hol jij the nebekea bakago na nish hanchad yego beteho ye nish e hait ego bansin case doben na ha adat a quit on hil hol jistole.
Okay, so now we're going to see who paid attention. Before we started, I had everybody pick a number, and so we're going to answer that question in the order of those numbers. So we're going to start with number 1. Whoever has number 1 will go first, and then we'll go down the line from there. We are skipping number 2 because we didn't have, we had one candidate that's not here. I have the number here. So number 1.
Yat nana. She ya insen go ya nagade ni holji 1923 ya ta epesh patas an na halle go lapeniani na tani ti ya aito adolati ni hikeya pakat lege de holoniki di shi kwa holon ba zo holon shi shows la nagay Washington de pia ya di de la la in yendays nil apik eta days ingo ukata ade khaholji eti ato let soto legenda that akishito at konda dal yagi dal so hate get a holji a kont at ya to hoshiyat eta doshiyat eta naha kaya to bayat et todo bayat et inako kaya pakha dahina nishido bayat eta no opits I'll take at Akoshe insen go yako nilch et o unihe holot o the niyol niyoligi pe hat ada kodet at sin stabel ido lesensen ado shantin dot o ayodat ntin da what le be quaden he hollo quache southwest holiach ke hut inigi yati shantin jo edo bet sin the shil idonsen ado lana that no ya Kodet and that into small businesses station hata yiswatiki jo to peso bel ot I see ba bena anisho hajo bal ego hajo ya Yena nish ido a ebits ado pesol o eko yedik inda the kaidolil ensin. Okodik at legendo legendat age she doshiat ed dodo dansen. Okot edo lechik edoshtne.
Go ahead. Okay, who is number 3? Leslie Sussy. Go ahead. Go ahead.
That one right. There we go.
It's by sensitive.
Okay, I got it. With the fossil fuel revenue, I'm for it, but we need to fix the taxation. The taxation needs to be looked into where the organizations of the ones pulling the extraction of the fuel. With that, we have to really look into that because we have to work with the state, the BIA, and the BLM. And this, I'm talking about Eastern Agency and Chaco Canyon. There was a meeting up in 2019 about these oils around Chaco Canyon, about the 10-mile extension that keeps Chaco Canyon safe. Right now, the people over there are really suffering. They have nothing. They're not getting anything out of this. And I'm looking into that with the others in the community. It's hard because they are really frustrated and they really would like this help with our Navajo Nation. With this, also with the roads, they have to make roads to get to these oil pumps, and that just messes up the whole reservation as it is, like washboard and everything. That they ask simply just for the roads to be fixed, but the washboard can be easily fixed with county. When we went to the county, they said they could fix these washboard roads, but Navajo Nation needs to put that part into it, and they haven't heard nothing from our president. So that's all I have right now when I was researching. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, who has number 4? Go ahead.
Yet A, I love this question. Number 1, we have $1 billion sitting in the bank right now that's been sitting there for over a year. Let's spend that money now. That's money that we could be spending on building housing to alleviate the overcrowded housing problem in our community that made us vulnerable to the pandemic. We could be spending it on roads so that EMS can do a timely and quick response when someone calls 911 for help. With someone who is sick with COVID, that could save lives. Today, that money needs to be spent to save those lives. We could also be investing in any number of infrastructure projects to put water lines to every home on Navajo. Let's go after that. Let's get started on that now. We could also be spending that on electricity to our homes. That is so important so people have refrigeration so they can actually isolate in place. If their family is sick, they need a refrigerator so they don't have to go shopping and expose our other people to COVID. So let's get that money spent now. And we also have $13 billion that was approved for infrastructure in Indian country. Looking at how much money came to us under ARPA with the amount of money set aside for tribes, I think we're going to get over $1 billion for infrastructure. So let's grease that wheel. Let's get spending that money. Let's create jobs. That's construction jobs, jobs our people can already do. We already have so many Navajo contractors that are just waiting to do that work. And then cultural match. Cultural match. That's the most important thing, other than creating a 21st century economy, right? We need to modernize everything, including our economy. In terms of cultural match, what is our greatest resource? Our people. What do they love doing? Farming, ranching. Those are our roots. Let's invest in that. They love building, creating jewelry, beautiful art. Let's invest in that. Let's invest in our entrepreneurs.
Yeah, Ms. Branch, thank you. Okay, and the next person, we have number 4. Go on ahead.
Yarat E. Aro da isanal tsaigi horona ide kirigi le peso ya nai nesagi nachol ya gi jo kare ona ganje le permanent trust fund be da inishigi e honne de ni log le nasty de shi hale all an he peso na de indo nanish na de ni ge nenegi shibansis case in le eltsebe hasti ni rie jo nanish abide yos ge ni na de gi do are na da do khagi e digi peso bahalo bi gansin Aron le kayata bada halloda le aita bahara de yago aita toya das no do best chia das no do peso bada hallo in hit ne ye laho yedana e ye de nisto lesen so man this case ekko khwashi le be has ani dan age in nacha hoda yago ape ye de nisgon she hodo ban this case e hot ot ne ape de in zon in da del zido e hot on jono bada in nisto lesen so al said the never Washington nacha hodo nisto hodo ape ye de nisto le arona kegon ne en le da galaga ha yuhne belche da chahagi khalet ol hajoba kha del yago jo a hui che honne belche da iche pe peso da hallo de quigo shi belada hozinigi bada danigi to yitan chahagi to da nishe bagand bada hallo da e hot oban siskes e digi e yese e hot ona nish bahallo e ti digi beso ya nahin te enal khada e bahallon jono go ada di lin so ban siskes. Number one is I really want to invest in our small businesses because they need access to financing, access to business site leases, access to places where they can set up shop and remove some of the red tape that's involved with business regulatory and make sure that Navajo businesses come first. They shouldn't be a second, third, or a priority. They should be the number one and we should make it happen for them. So, yeah,
Dr. Nygren. Okay, we are going to Mr. Bigman next.
Hello. Shea Greg Bigmanian. About 6 years ago, Navajo knew that there was going to be a $43 million shortfall with the closure of NGS and Peabody. So right now, roughly about 40% of Navajo's revenue is dependent upon fossil fuels. So to say that you're going to eliminate it right now is going to have a huge impact onto Navajo Nation's general fund. So what this means is that we have to diversify the economy. What is the low-hanging fruit? The low-hanging fruit is healthcare. There's roughly about $4 billion that is in healthcare, and all of it, majority of it, moves off the Navajo Nation. So think about healthcare. So there's several things with healthcare that are really important. One is not only the healthcare and Medicaid services. Other one is home care for our elders, mental health for our students. Those are suffering from depression, suicide, and all these other mental disorders. Also, we can think about how we can start to integrate our traditional medicine into our healthcare plan as well. That is a true expression of Navajo sovereignty, to use our way of life, our way of healing to better ourselves as people. Also, another one is that when we decentralize, my plan is to decentralize. What this means is that we're going to get some of the resources up on Navajo and push it out into the community, into small businesses, and providing support into local chapters. These can be things such as not only business support analysts, but also looking at things such as agriculture. Agriculture has roughly about $500 million, and these could be things that are usually subsidized by grants. The other one is artisan markets. Being able to have artisans start up within their own art areas, and so that way we can develop local economies and start pushing that from the grassroots level. Lastly, anytime you think about fixing a budget, you got to tighten up the budget, know where to reduce some of the waste and cut the fat off of Navajo, and look at really how you to start to measure performance and improving the efficiency of Navajo.
Go ahead, Mr. Bigman. We're going to go ahead and move over to Mr. Daesh.
Nothing was just in Hinan, Shidelia. Ita 2006, 2007, Nahajishanta, $600 million. If I ate the Nebekaya Panaso, based on Nantegi, a not zonde, DJ Yaha a 1.2 billion. Nakide Hanani Delo. I thought a Yahibeta in this. I thought a Yahite, Jenigi, but Anjo Dahadil. At a Yashanti Tony Yol, Yah Ebetat Ageness, Nikido and Tato, Igasi, Zido, yahay bits arosen isil on an hibek itlaro le ni gan taho hot yahay bet kito le jot idadi no iba yadil nana khait hodon ni nachten hol jistet snenigit yahay tro lenigi slaata nach yenta yahay khoe na sosata na hodit khadatilia qad yahanat ani nezo nanjo itlos ako khoe ben nada tilnash إن كأتشنا كده يجي تكون ده لازم يدحسن يجوهون ده تودنش جوهت إياها إيه بيسون زني بخدنول شخ أرون ده إياها إيه تروهجي تروب تيسن نزي بتيس تسمسي هون تروه ده تلصان هون إياها إيه دي هون تنبج هذا دودنش أرون نال يهيا ناس تهيدو بتخاطو تلوس جو الياغو أنت إياها إيه نان نشجي خدنيل شخ جوهت إيه بايدل تيود أكون يعني كادو جتادي نو إياهني تاي كاو ونزهو هو جشكو أرون the things تاكون تستا Frank Dash that was known هنا نشيدا دو شيت
Yeah. Okay, we're going to move to next to Frankie Davis.
Can you hear me? Okay. By the way, it's not just oil and gas. You guys got to get that out of your mind. Okay? We have differing natural resources. Take, for example, we have helium. I know everybody's trying to, every time you hear that word, you want to throw up. But it's found in only 5 places in the world. And guess what? All those 4, there's 4 places in the world, they're all used up. And the Navajo Nation is the only place where it is available now. And we have so many untapped resources, and you can create billion-dollar hubs. And with that helium itself, that's not even the other tons of natural resources we have. So forget oil and gas. Everybody has a hiccup every time. As we are independent of Congress, we will have more capital for infrastructure and all the promises we're making up here, homes, roads, and whatnot, and education. When you have nation building, and then you have all the economy in your economy with the money you need, you will have capital, and you will be able to have small businesses, do whatever you want, hotels, whatever. And basically, we will also have our own bank and our own currency, and we will have powerful capital with the use of natural resources. There is nothing wrong with Mother Earth. She loves us. She has that below your feet. She gave that to you, and that is a God-given blessing. Why are we ignoring it?
Yeah.
Amen.
Yeah. We'll go ahead and move on to Mr. Justin Jones.
When I did kidding, I has done a go without Abehanasti. Dinah Zan begidoch Halgehish, a benedit out Abayi Catolic, Jot out a benide kitzeli, a shenashde kit. Kodot out Sabe had a stigit or a daughter. A what a kade. We have to stop going down this fossil fuel economy. We have to get away from that. Look what it's causing. Oh, you'd ought to net heat in the or you'd never But the cost is outrunning what the benefit is going to be. Pure and simple. Okay, then how do we replace those revenues? We have to think outside of the box, my relatives. We have to think outside of the box. Number 1, we have to begin to start investing in real estate. Real estate near home, for example, Cepenito and St. Michael's. There are fee simple land that's there that we could purchase and build what we can. We have to go outside the borders of the reservation. We need to buy up real estate, land, and buildings. Why? Because we have capital That's what we have as the Navajo Nation. We have to think outside of the box. Did you know that the Navajo Nation had an opportunity to purchase the Milwaukee Bucks at one time? Did you know that the Navajo Nation had an opportunity to purchase the Cosmopolitan Resort in Vegas? We gave it up. We have to think outside of the box. And another way is we need to start investing in our small businesses. Deregulate all the things that inhibit small businesses. We need to start awarding contracts to Navajo-owned businesses. From now on, enforce 5 NNC and 12 NNC. Yeah.
Yeah, Mr. Jones. Next, we have Dr. Rosanna Jumbo-Fitch.
Thank you. As far as fossil fuel goes for employment, extraction, and helping to diversify our economy, we see the effects that we have on our current Navajo Nation. We have the healthcare issues that we've seen with our current workers that have been working in the mines, that have been working along the power plants, that have been traveling the miles to go to work. We see the benefits of employment, yes, but we also see the negative as how it has a long-term impact to our people. And with that long-term impact, it creates an issue for our nation. It creates an issue with our healthcare. It creates an issue with our younger generation because we pass those on as our children are born. As our children get older, they feel the effects. So we see the complications that this economy of fossil fuels is causing for our people. We have to be able to find other opportunities. On the Navajo Nation, we have over 16 enterprises that help to feed and help our nation strive. We have 16 enterprises that we continue to invest millions into, and we need to start expanding those opportunities with our local governments. We have to be able to provide additional resources if we're going to continue to support millions within those enterprises. We have to continue to expand, find new opportunities other than fossil fuels. We have a lot of educated minds that help us to complete tasks and duties to help develop a renewable energy. We have solar systems that we currently have that are completely being installed in other nations that we can use here. We can help to strive and create opportunities for our youth, help them use their youthful academic knowledges to help better prepare for our future. Help us continue to move our nation forward. And that is the only way we're going to continue to generate resources and revenue for our people. Yeah.
Thank you. You guys are doing so good with the time. Okay. The next, we're moving on to Dineh Benali.
There was this world that was going to end, and this leader wanted to help. And these two young people volunteered to go and try to save the world. And this leader said, well, let's go to this first door. There's going to be 4 doors. And if you pick the right door, you're going to save the world. The first door, he opened it, had oil, minerals, new roads, windmill. Young people said, open the next door. Hey, couldn't add natural resource, Nana. Solar. They said, no, Abiga. Let's move to the next door. Third door was private hospitals, public safety. I said, no, Nana. Next door was number 4, peso, data centers, cryptocurrency, blockchain. No. Hey, then we wanted to look at that package, that bag that you have up there. Okay, Dineh. Brings it down, opens it. Kune otla, sort of zen. Young people say, "Edi danitse." Biga, John, Chalchene, you have chosen wisely, because with toda zendo otla, you can have everything. Chikeno clean. Jene, with prayers, with otla, we can do great things. We can do everything. Even at Dineh never not ani bayishwe. Naso ne yat nani katole. Yego the Benali da no. August 2nd for President of the Navajo Nation. Thank you.
Yeah. And finally, we have Emily Ellison.
Peso. What is the US currency? It's pegged to the oil. So energy, that commodity, is what stabilizes the world economy. Right now, they're saying that we're exiting a bull market and we're entering a bear market. They're predicting a year and a half to 2 years, we're going to be in a full-blown recession. So you've got the American dollar, which all oil in the world was exchanged through. Now you've got these foreign countries, Russia, China, India. They've created their own banking system. That dollar is going to drop. Our Sihasin fund, the value is going to crash. We need to spend that money out. You look at how these conflicts around the world are affecting us. Wheat in Ukraine, that was good wheat farming. So now there's going to be a wheat shortage. Navajo people, we like our fry bread. So let's start looking at our supplies. That's, in my opinion, that's financial leadership. You're out there, you're looking for this stuff. So you look at the enterprises that we have. I think one's investing in popcorn. You know, we need to switch that out and plant in some plants in there that could help the Navajo people. When I talk about economic rights, I'm talking about a main ingredient, which is private property, private land ownership. We don't have that, and that's a really important ingredient to be successful in a capitalist society, and that's exactly where we're in. So we need to either figure out a way to transfer our leases and inherit them, or have a strong discussion with the U.S. government. But that's the direction that we need to go.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, so that's, we've heard from all of the candidates on that question, and I want to thank you all for staying within the time limits. And the next question we're going to get to, everybody again is going to answer the same question. This one we're doing the popcorn style, which means it's going to go pretty quickly. It's 30 seconds that you'll have to answer this question. And Germaine's going to read the question, and then the order, we're going to go in the opposite order. So whoever was number 1 is going to go last this time. So whoever was number 11 is going to go first this time, or actually number 12. Okay, Germaine.
Okay, so this question is, do you think tribal enterprises help or hurt the Navajo economy? Kodo Dineh Washington hata shiya nanish hanchad hanchadiki edi ya yitahotes ado hashin tsoko hatedi la tribal enterprise tapatine le di pichata iho e na kits at tahalon ndelad kwato e has trans at tahne. There are 12 to possibly 16 Navajo enterprises. In Washington, hotel Haiti la. Ako e na nishain chato ado e peso na Haiti ato le e koje adon lego the nebekea go cho ido le in yeshi o hotel shi in Haiti la. Ako e that's the hotel ya yanki it's out that's e be on nish do dago e that's do that's what ego hold jista e ya hotel night the kid okay 30 seconds e ya when I launching hotel not on he just said not e kwa Emily Allison sado.
At one point, tribal enterprises were important. They introduced us to this new economy, this business culture, and I think they've outlived their purpose. There's a lot of skilled labor now, and so a lot of the money that the government, even the federal government, state government provide should be open up to these individuals who have the skills to perform the tasks. Something as simple as construction, pipe work. it's got to be opened up. And when you look at these organizations, any organizations that are connected to the Navajo government and Navajo society, there's got to be transparency. You've got to list those board of directors, you've got to list the staff, you've got to be able to have a background check.
Yeah, we're up. Okay, next is Dineh Chamber.
We need to stop dividing each other. They work in these enterprises, Lord. And we have to come together. And that's why I want to be your leader. We need a leader that's going to help bring people together and not fight each other. Because that causes poverty. Because our people deserve it. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, next is Dr. Rosanna Jumbo-Fitch.
Yeah. The Navajo Nation Enterprises, they help with our employment. They help to employ our youth, our elderly, our working parents. They help to provide that opportunity so we can have food on our table every night. There's a benefit to the salaries that they pay out to our nation, Akonde. They need to continue to support our communities as well. They need to continue to provide additional support. We have recommendations that they should be putting money back in the pot to help support our current Navajo Nation budget fund as well. And that way we can provide additional opportunities off those funds, whether it's a community project, whether it's a small business development, whether it's project financing.
Yeah, thank you. Next is Justin Jones.
The enterprises do provide jobs, but I think what's more important now is that they are hurting the Navajo economy. They're a monopoly, people. They are a monopoly. They are unregulated, and they are going by the fact that they feel that they can create regulation themselves and everything else. We have to stop that. Gaming is losing money. Intech is paying $15,000 a month to their board members. This is absurd. We got to stop this. We got to regulate them.
Next is Frankie Davis.
Can you hear me? I believe it does help. It creates employment opportunities for the Navajo people, and it also develops local economies with small business development and revenue generation and local consumption. Amen.
Yeah. Okay, and then we're going to Frank Dayish.
أنا زندگی ایبت أصلا نهات أبانيل تيلو جو خوي بدتوسنيل دي نهات أهاجي يها نغي تغاهو زندة أدلان زستهاجي جو خوي يهاتوتزي أرون دا يها إيدي كوجو دا تاي كاهي دتونيل نهكاو جي جو بدو نيدو يها إي أصلاحي أو يها بناستي كاشو إيلان دا لانا دا نيتزن أخذ إياها إياني كا نجحت أيضا أخذ أندت أنا زني إبت قد إياها جونها أهيد أصابات أو نيسو إياها إكورونا شبه نادي كا. Number 14.
Thank you, Frank Dayish. Next, we go on to Greg Bigman.
Thank you. So I did an assessment back a few years ago about the performance of the Navajo Nation enterprises, and they received 1 cent return on investment for every dollar that is invested. So some perform better than the industry standards, others perform worse. So some of them are required by federal law. That's free money. Who is going to give away free money? Those industries like that, we got to keep. Others is what's happening economically is called a crowding effect. When you have small business owners that are competing against government enterprises, there's an unfair competition. So these companies need to be considered sold either to Navajos or maybe outside industries.
Thank you, Mr. Bigman. And let's move on to Boo Nigrin.
Where over to get the Oh, she Roban says case in Lake and Naniste Yosgeri has Jordan Nil Hela the Hajon based on Nei Jata, Halate all the Hajo, the Neapit based on Naniste Yosgeri, Yisindaz Nishago, Shehotoban says case, Hajo art ended Nanel Hechi or Bigata. Didigin Jnobaslan, Nishigi Yego, Naskaza, Hot Oehode, the Nede Naniste Yosgeri, Yisindaz Nishagobiga, and so on this case, Ehoto San Kitchen and Adolite.
Oh. Mr. Nigrin, Ado Ethel Branch.
Don't get that timer started before okay, there we go. Our last question was about how we plan to diversify our economy. We already have these enterprises. They're already providing jobs. They're already providing revenue to our communities. I'm not in favor of destabilizing the strong economic gains that our enterprises have put in our community. We're in this beautiful building. And also, but I do not agree with our enterprises competing with our small business owners. We have to build our entrepreneurial class. That is the backbone of every economy. So we can't forget about that. We have to actively pursue diversification of our economy. So that's what I think about enterprises. And if I have time, we also have, we just locked in an 80.
Let's move on to Leslie Sosi.
Thank you. I think that tribal enterprises are good, but then right now, at this time, it's hurting the people. I think the government's getting involved too much with the tribal enterprises, and if the people need to vote, they need to vote also for the controller, for the attorney general, to see where our money is going. It's not fair for us to just keep asking and begging for our money again, as we always do. But we need to know where that goes. And banking, we need the actual bank because we can't wait for our monies.
Thank you, Leslie. And we move on to Dolly Manson.
Tribal enterprises are independent and Gotcha. Better? Okay. Tribal enterprises are independent and they do help our people with jobs, yes. But they need to be regulated more. But not necessarily they ako ado ad hit ne do but harni oshiat educate belakana te but harni o khayu ko she queensen ni da holon da jo nanel I go josh and nalia she be bonetza
Dr. Manson. Yes, and those definitely are it's good information that they're giving us. And we want to pause here just for a moment, and we are going to go on to the last set of questions that we have, in which they'll have 2 minutes to answer. So if you need to stand up and reach for the ceiling and stretch a little bit, go ahead and do that. Let's give our candidates another round of applause. Kwadoshanaya hadzi lin khades khainahalon noya hadne akodo latota lin ba datzolnigi eya kwa khani khailado at albanan nishadayilado eya banahat hotel datit okot ya oba hnesendo kwado e hashin tsogona adikidigi Eshin Shatats, oh, Banso case, and that Halet, oh, Dian case, Danosonshi, and it hopefully, you are getting some of the answers this evening that helps you determine and make a decision here in the next few, and on August 2nd, na Nishan Chado, Lehaki Yego Bain Hitch in the hot. Ako yego eya nsiil kesit ako eya ba henitsen kodo hotel ba yatel tito kodo nhinant halet banso kesa tapeti no kode nteinilt nle ako eshi di iltskogo eshi ne nejet na solto anhe hotel bendai dol kitole Ako aro ka ashon de na hat deal zehia a don't no pi dots de ya Quadon is Jonico a Hin High Saltra, though a Dysonolt or called the Conzago Holgish, a cordi and Jono Kinby, hot or Shahnid Lindle, a corn Nteni Pin, ya, ado a qua nas nan dole. Ado Katchin za the etan hiran. Ado di I not kili jean de kodo ya in Jonako Hawako ya de noka dole. A coho di lan hinat ani she's kado which had the she panata as zohandle. A coho ya a nahaban says case shanant at an oflenigi. Hot a Quantany being ado a quat hashing sagona the kidnan dollars k a qua asha agonan dollars ado a asha anizenico a ana kit haljene a panat the dot as a qua not ye had dot zihigi. Okay. Ado hashi yo sasha yo on ajne le quad o yaha ilte hit registration table yage e quasa ado legion e shin ade bahodos ne yo sahot onash no e bahodos ne to another dot as. And also there is a ring that has been found, and it will be at the registration table. So if you're missing a ring, go to the registration table and maybe describe this lost item, and they'll have it there for you. So if I could ask everyone to please have a seat again, and we are at the final question here. I want to thank all the leaders here, and just really, going by the protocol and the rules here. I appreciate your patience, your attention, and your participation. And these are real quick, popcorn style question and answers, get you thinking really fast and really highlight the main points of what you are to say. So if we could settle down, everyone, and we will continue on with this last part of the forum. So I know everyone is excited to see each other. We're finally starting to gather again, and we all want to network, and we'll have time for that after. So let's go ahead and get settled in, and we'll go to our last part of this forum.
Okay, we're going to go ahead and get started again. Please have a seat. Please have a seat. Please have a seat. Yeah, please have a seat. Please have a seat. We're going to get started. Thank you. Okay, let's go ahead and get started again for this question. These were the 3 questions that the audience voted on. And so what we're going to do is I'm going to have the candidates turn around and read the questions and let us know. I'll go ahead and read the questions as well, but we're going to then let us know which question you're going to answer by the number. So the first question is, what is your knowledge of accessing capital for business development on the Navajo Nation? Number 2 is, what way are your priorities going to lead towards sovereignty and economic stability? Number 3 is, will you rely on extractive industries to create a Navajo economy? I'm going to pass the mic to Germaine. Okay, so each candidate's going to pick one of the questions. This time we're going to have the slides go back and forth between the question and the clock, so you could still have access to the questions. So if you want to see it again, just turn around. And then for this question, we're going to reverse the order of the introductions. So we're going to start on the far side of the stage from me, and then work our way this way. The question, you'll have 2 minutes for each question. Please make sure you let us know by number which question you're going to choose. And then why don't we say test, test to make sure your mic is working, and on the second test, then we'll start the clock for every candidate, okay? Okay, so I think we're ready, right? Are we ready? Are we ready? Okay, don't fall asleep on us, it's still early. Okay, let's go. Ethel?
Test. Can you guys hear me? Test. Oh, there we go. Okay. So, first of all, one of the key aspects of my platform is land reform. You know, someone was saying, we need to buy real estate. We have 27,000 square miles of real estate on our sovereign nation, and we are not accessing that. We could have a robust real estate market here, where our people are able to buy real estate, to build a home, create equity and capital and wealth in our own community. That opens up the opportunity for our people to come home. I talked about our people being the greatest source of economic development opportunity for us. You know, we look around here, who can live in our community? People who are highly government dependent and can qualify for NHA housing, or they work for our government. Some of us are lucky to come from grazing families and have a traditional home site, but everybody else is shut out of that system unless they can prove dependency. So we're telling our young people, go get your education, come home.
Ms. Branch, could you let us know which question you're answering?
Oh, number 2. So, you know, let's capitalize on the wealth that we already have in our community. We don't have to do anything complicated like create fee simple property or convert ourselves to that. You know, we want to protect our sovereign authority on these lands, and having those in trust status allows for that. But we can create an overlay on top of the trust system. Property law is incredible. In New York City, you can own half of an apartment. If you can do that, why can't we just create something on top of what we already have? Get rid of the grazing system, get rid of the home site and business site system, and allow our people, what our people know and believe to be true in their heart, to be recognized in our own laws. Let's write our laws so they reflect who we are and reflect opportunity for a bright future. That will allow our business owners.
Thank you, Ms. Branch. And then we have Boo Nigren next. Test your mic and also tell us what number you're choosing to answer to.
Okay. I'm going to answer number 2, question number 2. So, in this case, anyway, has the Dineh Chamber Geri Elsa Ebakado was Yego Haishi Bina. Between the hunt like Nachahodal Yaga Hoto, it's ski, so be Danish to up at the Inzinago, Yen Daz, Nisgo, She Hoto, a death non, Jonago, a draw, I down Hodini, the Nea see a Laho Yedane, Hedo, Hodo, the Nebanant Ada, so Saido became the Sizido. Shohe Nehe, Dibin, Tito, Sin Shadow, Tito Nanish Kadesh was Tato Nenegin, cases Zidolet, Aro Peso, Bahalodolet, Aron Le. Can I dance how the Yaga shopping centers that Enigi Yego but not Nishon Juno where the Nendash job and so on this case I don't lead in Zgare Kaya the banda has Anigi Hajo Kaya but the has so Dado Kisto to the banda has Anigi but the whole no Ebi Gansen Doi Har she that the band this case the we chipped that need Linki Edi given the dealnish at Leha 1 adult Egi quite enough Egi Eben that dealnish about this case I don't care again not Yos Erigi Eda but which Ehoto for the whole no but Lahobigan so about this case Ehoto Benda dealnish song again, I just wanted to say thank you. And I really want to just work on making sure that small businesses are a priority, because a lot of them call me every single day and they say we are over-regulated. We need to unregulate ourselves and make sure that small businesses have the but I just want to make sure that small businesses have the opportunity to be successful.
And thank you, Mr. Nygren. We move on to Justin Jones.
I will be answering question number 2. Eshedo khade da ilyaligit eda. Sedan leidne hotelkille bik ahoni khishik eshedna. Ado khwelte de bik ahonnani khe. Do de chin hirada do de ban hirada do ke en hilati jeda. We sustained ourselves all these many years. No card the neck on the chip is here, horse at Hila don't need. No card the neck at the Bob is here, constant Hila don't need. No card the neck is here, constant Hila don't need. We were resilient, we were self sufficient. Let's take that spirit. How am I going to do it? I'm going to invest in the Navajo people. I'm going to invest in Navajo-owned businesses. We have to enforce the Navajo Business Opportunity Act. I have 2 lawsuits in court right now challenging violations by the Navajo Nation of the Navajo Business Opportunity Act. We need to comply with the law. We have to support the Navajo business owners, the small businesses, the backbone of the Navajo Nation economy. Why? Because our people didn't do that. That is what sovereignty is. Yeah.
Yeah, Mr. Jones, and now Leslie Sosi, please tell us what number you're picking.
Test, there it is. I'm picking number 2, sovereignty and economic stability. For my priority, I believe we need to get with BIA in Congress and take our lands back. We're not sovereign. Our borders corral us. We can't get our businesses going, our small businesses, even our vendors. Vendors are the money maker in our borders. We need to help them build, because we have, like, Burger King there is making more money than our people who make food for the tourists. Tourists are money people that come in and help these places. I think with the corporations coming in, they build, and that gives us a minimal value. Vendors, really, I think we need to work with those that are coming in so we can take our money back. Thank you.
Thank you. And we go on to Emily Ellison next.
Yate. So I'm going to pick number 1 because everyone else picked number 2. The oldest war humans have had has been between the labor and those that own the resources, the land, and the wealth. So yes, it is an issue of being able to access the wealth. Right now in the US, the 1% in America owns more than 70% of the American wealth. How do we access that? That goes to economic inequality, and that's something that Martin Luther King Jr. talked about. So for us Navajo people, how do we do that? The system that's in place right now is a credit score system. What is your credit score? What the government needs to do is create our own credit score system. A lot of the money that the Navajo Nation has received has been through our resources. So rightfully, that money that has come in belongs to the Navajo people. So it's up to our leaders, and if I'm elected, I will help make it accessible to achieve this capital for the small businesses and all the Navajos that are wishing to participate in our economy. That's what I wanted to explain, and that's a financial perspective. So we need to continue working on our economic, our legal, and our political rights. And so that goes to having a constitutional government. At some point, we need to go to the next step and develop a constitutional form of government. Right now, we don't exactly know what fundamental law means. But to me, fundamental law means you have a home, you have a fire, you have water, and you don't go in debt to achieve those things. So that's what I stand for, and I think that we need to achieve economic independence through those aspects. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Ellison. We move on to Dolly Manson. Check your mic, and then tell us what number you're responding to. Mic check.
Hello? Number 2. Yananat she ya insin go yan le khade shi ya obahatsi go dina be honit lini no khade nebela ashla ini kliniki netzilu ni khay yego dan hitzilu khade shi ni khay ebenina dishit andi kohonit lo do dan hitzilu she do kona ha tra dan te shi all ya resiliency ko ade da jeni na tin yego hagil kana nanna yat eko na shado nzo hagil kana nanna an ent ego ya da jenon da tin de e batati khensin shidi shide eben na dit ego hil holjish kon ha da shitye itadalye kon de na ye desgan enet lan de se di ba hat zedi dat eko na ye dan lego enan da se yen ko yan khanalto di atlish nige tien olya jo to na ye nle khada shit ado bedisgida desh na nedo bta hoye de dole dal neshodik in da kedole tak at be da hollo do ko belit da hollo inna ya ta haliago ye tikin de da dole sin olye do ado peka shiolye do de beta dalie Ebedik in das de kajholji dag at the holongo also da hoda jit ego what on lady holji ebi hai jo ebe ayu go yan hitaya da hot and and hits east adon hin da best at the end juka de be hai ya at ada edi da ultra be hindol yel eben da ho aho indol ni ado ebedik in nada di kedo kaya pa haya Kaya bakao da desia do back ida da holong go ko thon da do de ko thotle chen da do ado ha joya na ha ga do chu de zen da ben da hoidil a ko tao ya ho jona ho do le jo she de shne ko ta she na di kha shne ha
Miss Dolly Manson. Ado Frankie Davis Nandole. Check your mic and tell us which number you're answering.
Testing, testing. I just had to say that. Okay, number 2. Okay, I created a small poll and we're getting down to real gritty, serious stuff here. Okay, I asked each of the 30 of you if you believed in Dineh, and there was the other question. Do you believe our awful state of our Navajo Nation is because we've been straying from God? Yes, we have strayed and we are cursed. We will have no prosperity until we turn back to God. Example, when the council, back then, when the council and the people went against the sacredness of our language and they tried to pass and get a president to not speak the Dineh language. And basically, because of that, I believe that was the gold mine spill that happened, and that was our curse. And I heard the Chief Justice Yazzie, he did say, the Holy One stated our language is holy. None of us here sitting here are going to have success without God, without Dineh. And if you don't like it, then you have a problem, because who is our creator? God is a part of the holy ones. And we need to remember him. That's how you love one another. That's how you fix the nation, by being kind, to listen, to actually have empathy for each other instead of the fight, fight, fight. That's all we've been doing. We can blow this whole Navajo Nation because we're so angry. It's not going to work. You need God. I believe in him, and you will not have success without him. You can try all you want. All of us up here, go ahead and try. You're going to get the same result from the past 99 years. Good luck. Prayer, God.
Thank you, Ms. Frankie Davis. And we move on to Dr. Rosanna Jumbo Fitch.
Yeah, I will be answering number 2 of the questions, priorities. So as Dineh leaders, we're put in forefront of our people. I believe that the biggest priority in order for us to move forward as a nation is to start at the lower level. And that level starts with our local communities, listening to our people's wants and needs. Throughout the past couple of weeks, we've had our people providing us these opportunities as leaders to listen to them, to walk with them, to share stories with them, to understand exactly what our needs are here on Navajo Nation. We have a lot of people reaching out to us up here as leaders. They are asking us questions of how we're going to assist them, how are we going to help them, how are we going to help provide them funding so they can have a future here on Navajo Nation. Majority of our people here on Navajo want to be home. Home is here within our 110 chapters, and we have to provide a stable home for our people, provide them funding, provide them the small business opportunities that they want. As Navajos, as the Net people, we have the ability to have arts and crafts within our local communities. It starts with the smallest level, we teach our younger generation to grow, and we have a lot of young minds that are wanting to grow, and we're holding them back. My priority is to provide them that freedom, provide them that voice within their local communities. To us as leaders, as we stand before them, we forgot to listen to our people, and we have to start listening to them to understand exactly what their needs are in order for us to move forward to create a plan within each of our communities. That plan can be developed by our local leader level, and that plan can be funded. That plan can be focused exactly on what our Dineh people want, whether it's small business, whether it's equal opportunity, whether it's preference, whether it's being accountable and upholding the regulations and policies and procedures that we have on Navajo. We have the opportunity to better it, and we have to start listening to our people's wants and needs in order for us to move forward as a nation. Yeah.
Oh, thank you. And move on to Greg Bigman.
Thank you. I will be answering number 2. So there's a couple things about my plan that's really important. One is that I'm not doing it alone. And I look for the support of council and educating them on why this is important, how decentralization will fix the problems on Navajo. So when you look at what's happening across Navajo, you see a disconnect with fairness, difference between the haves and have-nots. And as that disparity grows, we see that in our economy, and we see that with people struggling. So how I fix that is by focusing on grassroots and decentralizing the resources and the authority down to the local level so people have the power, and I put people first. Secondly, is that with this plan of decentralization, it's not one person working on economic development. It's 110 chapters in addition to me working on economic development. So 111 people working together to help solve the problems on our nation. When you think about building our community, economic development has to be tied with community development. What that means is that infrastructure, broadband, all the things that are needed, sewer, water, come to the communities because our communities need it to develop and are not left on the wayside. Lastly, when we think about putting people first and this economic development plan I have, it's about tightening the ropes and making sure there's transparency within our government. Right now, there's a few issues. The ARPA funds, $1.8 billion was invested with $100 million of interest given to the nation. So where is that money? There's no transparency. I have the proven record of showing transparency and financial accountability and implementing financial performance across organizations in Navajo. So with this, you'll see increased performance, increased productivity, and we'll see increased economic activity because of this.
Thank you, Mr. Bigman. And we move on to Frank Dayish.
Altsehegi yahati na kigojen na ki kunet da hijoka ni hizat behonezna ebe enanit edole aron da yaha dinahat ahagi be ate hadit zegi enashe ho be ananit edole ako yisigi eti the Navajo Washington astrat at tahonan nishan chadigi hetaholda ako yaha ik etades eki yaha atho nana enal tra ena kigo etades ako dik adn khol jishiki eti an hieta nahuit an he yaha hot audi no the neck achnahat ahaki depend di khato nash benane khato leki ako ben datilnish yaha eti enal trai atho pa hilleneki yaha eti khan zachta bekendet otzo benach atho pa hilleni yande tol kil joit up hiben holni jot ai be khati jaho what aron the nash nana to chenen leneki da olthaage yaha olthaage wazit en days la akwegi to khabik endet otzo nal so sanie behni ho lewek nahal koji aj benti kha at eden khabik endet otzo jota deti ni an hidi nahat ben del nisho an hinahat aron hizato tanabel lenegi ben de kha yahay be enane tlaro le jot yahay hinahat yahay be yadel tho honza hol jish aron da kehed an hinot honza je hol jish she yaha Frank Dayish dins at tahon da setta yahan hinan nishida do lis August 2nd gonna
Mr. Dayish, Adoshi de Nebanali, what number you're choosing?
Got Ishik or Shanae. Shanae, I'm going to answer all three of them. Shanae, this Gina. They're suffering with PTSD from this COVID. They're committing suicide. They're dealing with rape, dealing with alcoholism, dealing with domestic violence. And they're dealing with some 50% not getting a scholarship to go to school. Some are dealing with unemployment because they want to go to work right when they graduate from high school. They don't know what to do. If we lose our people, who is going to continue their culture and his that? Nazi Dineh Masira Shidinem Nikadish wood. Even I didn't not I wish was again clean. On that carnet eras, ne? Shidine, Yego, Nikadish wood. I need a snake. By Kens and by Kale, the Chayash Kedo, a kid will thank you.